You're walking down the street, and your neighbor calls you into his house. He says, "Look at my grand collection of antiques and fine dining silverware." As you're looking around his house, you start to look at his photographs, and you recognize a few people on the wall. And then you got goddamn Fernando standing there holding up your dead grandpa's body, ripped out of the ground from 20 years ago. This is Human Landmines.
Welcome to another riveting episode of Human Landmines, Season 2. It's episode 11, the penultimate episode.
The penultimate episode of Season 2.
Yeah.
We only got one more in Season 2 after this, but unlike your favorite TV shows, we usually only take a week off before the next season starts.
Yeah. We're non-traditional. We can take whatever breaks we want.
I think the internet's all about being non-traditional, like how you can use porn now to pay for your college tuition, or you can take selfies of dead people.
Yeah.
And they can get spread around the internet. That's pretty non-traditional. There's a lot of things that are happening on the internet that's pretty cutting edge, and people say it's the last frontier we have. And I just want to let people know that just because the internet's an information superhighway at your fingertips doesn't mean you can't stir shit up in the real world.
Yeah.
Like, you might discover an animal you've never seen before.
Yeah. That's in the real world, you fucking losers. You need to get off the internet.
Yeah. You might have to euthanize a rapist in the real world. You're only going to write bad stuff on his Facebook wall on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys need to get off Facebook and start euthanizing rapists.
Yeah, you're not really doing much for this God's great country if you're not euthanizing rapists.
Is it only euthanizing if the person wants to die? Is that the definition of euthanizing?
No, I think euthanizing isn't euthanasia assisted suicide?
Okay, that's all it... Yeah, so the person has to want to die for it to be... Like, you can't sneakily euthanize someone.
So, on today's episode, we're going to talk about a sea animal collection that has never been seen before. We're going to talk about porn star Bella Knox, one of me and Steven's favorite topics, porn. We're going to talk about euthanizing rapists and taking selfies with dead bodies.
Stay tuned, bitches.
Stay tuned, bitches.
You are listening to 60 people in America's favorite daytime talk show. Still chugging, still talking shit, still about to explode on Season 2 of Human Landmines.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This episode and every episode of the last few is brought to you by Merman Supply Company.
Merman Supply Company! Get wet!
And we do, of course, hope you're all getting wet out there. And our guest is going to get wet with us today. Henry Riggs.
Actor, comedian.
Yeah, you give his accolades.
Yeah, he's a wonderful actor and comedian. He's an extremely funny and intelligent dude. And I bet we can get him to talk about cool stuff like tit lunches.
Sweet. I'm excited to hear about his and your plans for superheroes that you were telling me.
Oh, yeah, we've been discussing. They all have bodily fluid powers. And they're like not what you'd think they'd be.
Hell yeah.
But they're pretty good.
So Paul, you teased it a little bit in the opening. Tell us a little bit about the guy who took a selfie, or not a selfie, just took a photo with a dead guy who he dug up from the ground.
All right. So I'm trying to see where this was. Um, so this guy was digging up a grave to make room for the wife, the now deceased wife of this husband that had already passed some 23 years ago. Um, and so the woman who passed away getting buried next to her husband, her niece, asked if the gravedigger could let her husband take a photo with her old uncle's dead body. It's been a dead body for 23 years. And so this gravedigger took a photo with this old man who's technically this corpse's nephew by marriage. The gravedigger was holding up the body, which is like stiff and very, very decayed. But this clothes are surprisingly
Yeah, I'm actually
in good
pretty
shape.
surprised at how good shape it's in.
Yeah, but well, I guess that's what all the chemicals are.
Yeah, I always thought like a couple years in you were getting eaten by bugs and vermin.
Yeah, but so this gravedigger propped up his dead body next to this guy, and the guy's wife took a photo of him and the body and the gravedigger, and it started circulating around the internet, and they noticed the collared shirt that this guy Clemente, this gravedigger in Guardamar del Segura,
Yeah.
they noticed his emblem was the crest of the town, and they suspended him from his job.
That's at first I was like it's super fucked up, but I think that's enough of a punishment. It's one of those things where it's basically a victimless crime.
Yeah, it's not like he was he wasn't posing for selfies with random famous people's dead bodies.
Right.
It's not like he was the guy burying Robin Williams and took like a Robin Williams dead body selfie.
He's
and
related to
Instagrammed
him.
it. No, this is Gravedigger's not.
Right, but the other guy, right?
The deceased couple that they were making more room in the grave for the wife. That's her aunt and uncle, and she asked the gravedigger if her husband could take a photo with her uncle.
It's really just like disrespectful, right? It's not. I don't think it's a crime.
No, but other countries though don't like they don't treat the dead quite like we do. Sure. Like in some other cultures, maybe somebody wants to be like, "Yo, we had to make room in Grandpa's grave for Grandma," and we saw Grandpa's body, and I asked the gravedigger if I could take a picture of it because I missed Grandpa.
Yeah, we don't know how everybody treats their dead differently, right?
Yeah, we're not certain.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Punishment
fits the crime.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel like the gravedigger's the weird one.
Yeah, the relatives are the weird one.
Yeah, like the gravedigger's like, so we're making room for Auntie Anne over here, and so she'll be right next to your grandpa right here. And the niece is like, Grandpa? Yo, bro, go stand next to Grandpa.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. They probably just slipped the gravedigger 20. He's like, fuck it. I'm a gravedigger. Yeah. It's the most exciting shit.
I mean, I'm already digging up dead bodies. I might as well, like, these guys just slipped me a 20 to take a selfie of them with Grandpa, then fuck it. I don't think the gravedigger's the weird one.
No way. He was just like doing his job and did a little extra. Those are the people who made the weird request.
Well, I just feel like people ask people at work to take photos all the time.
Right.
Of like them because like they know no matter pretty much whatever job you have, you're gonna have to be like polite and accommodating.
Yeah.
So no matter how busy you look at work, if you're like the busboy and you're wiping all these tables down, like the bachelorette party's gonna be like, hey cutie, do you mind snapping this photo of me and my girlfriends because we want to remember this night forever and ever and ever? And then the busboy's like, yeah, and then they hand him 8 phones.
Yeah, this is exactly like that.
And people ask me when I drop them off on the rickshaw, hey, do you mind if you take a picture of us in the cart?
Right.
Beverly says her son is never going to believe these are real.
Right.
And I feel like they're like, yo, do you mind if I snap a photo real quick? Could you just yank Grandpa out of the grave?
Yeah, he
prop him up there next to Emilio.
He almost had to do it out of professional courtesy.
Yeah, I don't think he should get suspended. I think they should make like a graveyard in the graveyard code of conduct. It should be like, well, they're making room for your others to sleep next to each other in eternal slumber.
Yeah.
You can't ask any of our employees to rip one out of the ground and play with it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, he was probably just caught off guard and said yes. I'm with you. Paul, I wanted to stick this story in there. We didn't say we were going to talk about it because I just found it.
I'm very excited about this, Steven. Go ahead.
So the Satanic Temple is famous because some court said that they could hang the 10 Commandments, and so the Satanic Temple went in there. Was
in
like,
a school.
Yeah. This is a different story though. The reason that I had heard of the Satanic Temple is because there was a court that was putting up the 10 Commandments, and Satanic Temple was like, well, if you can do that, then we get to put a statue of Baphomet there, which they did. So that's really happening. And so now they've done it in the Florida school system. Somehow Florida passed a law, apparently, that you can put religious literature in schools. I don't know. You can't, like, teach it, but you can just, like, lay stuff out somewhere, I guess.
Or I guess, like, maybe in the parking lot you can put it under the windshield wipers.
Yeah, and so now next to the fucking Jesus coloring book, you will find the Satanic Children's Big Book of Activities, in which you can help Damien use inclusive language to diffuse situations. I don't know. I think it's awesome. It's like, mostly because it kind of calls out the religious on their bullshit. Whenever they're trying to do this, the Christians or whoever, it's usually the Christians in this country, will be like, no, we think like any religion should be allowed to do it. But they don't really mean that. What they mean is like, no, we want to be able to put Christian stuff there. And it's just kind of points out the implications of what they're doing. It's kind of like, all right, we'll play by your rules.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the Church of Satan, don't they have like very, very little to do with actual religion at all? And they're just more like a help each other sort of like humanitarian religion? They just call it the Church of Satan. Yeah,
there's 2 different things though. There's Church of Satan and Temple of Satan. So the Temple of Satan is the one we're talking about. I just read about all this. Temple of Satan is mostly like there to troll people like this. They're like very much not. They're not Satanists really at all. I think they just like do this kind of thing. They're like kind of almost like a free speech group. But the Church of Satan also isn't. None of them actually like worship Satan. But Church of Satan is a little more serious. For all of you out there looking to find the right Satan group.
Yeah.
There's your guidelines.
And the internet's great for all this type of stuff. Including Bella Knox, who's the Duke porn star, decided to make a new web series, which is probably way more wildly popular than ours, which we worked on for way longer than hers.
Yes, because she gets naked.
She gets naked. You get to see her strip down and go to work, but you also get to see her reveal deep emotional scars.
Yeah, I didn't get that far. I did watch the first episode.
At one point, she sadly declares, I'm a porn star ex-cutter rape victim.
Yeah, I didn't get that far.
You said it was only 4 minutes long, and you didn't get that far?
Well, no, each episode is only 4 minutes long. I think there's several.
Oh, wow.
I also may have skipped around. But, no, it's pretty good. I was all in on it. It's, like, really well produced and stuff. It looks like it looks like a reality show that'd be on TV. It's like, I'd watch it.
Yeah, and I'm glad that, like, this is being made, because this is a positive porn story. It's actually treating the porn star like a person in the media.
That's
instead
true.
of like a sex robot.
I mean, yeah, and it's not. The media still isn't doing it. She's doing it herself, but it's kind of cool. I mean, I don't know if I buy all the way into like the Bell Knox is a powerful feminist, because I don't think all feminists agree with that. But I know she thinks she is, and so whatever. More power to her.
Yeah, I'm just glad that there's like just increasingly more things on the internet that show naked people.
Me too.
That aren't just like porn.
Yeah,
that
for everyone
are like
out
a
there.
documentary about porn.
Yeah, you know, the weird thing is I don't know that I ever would have watched a documentary about porn until I came upon that. And it was like, oh, this is 4 minutes and it's about Bell Knox. And I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting. I would always just want to watch porn if I wanted to watch porn. I don't know. I think she got me. They got me hooked with the 4 minutes. I think it was a good
I
move.
never got to talk about my $1 million idea for last week.
Oh, yeah, it does sort of have to do with this.
It's called the Helping Hand. And it comes with like, it's like a fake arm, and you can get it like designed with your tattoos and musculature, and it kind of hangs out, or whatever, birthmarks, and it just kind of hangs out of your sleeve, so you could jerk it in your pants wherever you may go.
I think it's going to catch on.
I know. Well, when would you rather not be jerking off?
Only when I'm having sex or making an important transaction at the bank.
Wouldn't the transaction be better if you were jizzing?
I might make some bad choices. Give me all that cash. Let me get all that cash out. You know? Testosterone takes over, and I just push a really high
You're
number.
going to attribute your compulsive shopping habits to you just being able to jerk off in the store?
Yep. Not to take this to like a serious dark place, but I guess it's still kind of funny actually. Real like sex addicts really do that. Like I've heard they cut holes in their pockets, so it looks like their hand's in their pocket, but then they cut a hole through so they can jerk it.
I don't. Hey, I think our guest is here.
Boomer's here, that's for damn sure. Let's jump to the guest segment.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We've got our special guest, comedian and actor, and all-around great man, Henry Riggs.
Woohoo!
Hey guys.
And he's joining us today.
Hey friends.
He wore something nice.
I wore a nice shirt today because it was
It's hard
clean.
to tell with this lighting, actually.
It could be a bad shirt with this lighting?
It could be terrible.
It's just a priest cloth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks priest-like from here.
Well, I just
Are
need
you-
it as a collar.
Yeah, I could see you getting ordained as a priest,
Really?
as like a gag, or like because you were gonna.
As a gag.
It's a gag.
Or is it hard to get ordained as a priest? Can you not just do that as a gag?
No,
I love the idea of it being a huge prank on everyone else. It's like,
I'm
you're
gonna-
not really a priest.
Yeah, or like, I'm gonna marry all the wrong people. Or like you get your friend blackout drunk and marry him to somebody.
Like, dude, you haven't been married for years.
Got you, bitch! I got you, you're married now!
That'd be an awesome priest.
Yeah.
It's like, that'd be a pretty chill-ass priest.
You would be. So Henry, tell us a little bit about your time in Chicago.
Oh, man. 6 years in Chicago. I moved up there right after college to do the old comedy thing. And that is like a world up there, man. I did I.O., which is the formerly Improv Olympic,
Okay.
and then I did Second City and The Annoyance, and then there was a subset of that called the Upstairs Gallery. I also spent some time in the theater world. I helped some friends start up a theater company called The New Colony, which basically is improvised ideas. Like the playwright will come with an idea and say, hey, I want to do a show about like hackers, and then people will like improvise what that show would be. That's one of the more recent ones. Or like we did one when I first got up there we did like a frat party, which was promenade. So like essentially you come into the play and it's a frat party going on all around you. So like a scene would start up behind
cool.
you, and like your ticket is a solo cup. So it's like this experience that you go into.
It's like immersive, like you're walking around?
Absolutely. Like you play beer pong, you do everything like with the actors, and the scene just goes on while you're just hanging out with the actors.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Was
it
it
was awesome.
Did you find that it was hard to break into? I mean, you sound like you did a lot. Was it hard to get into, or you slipped right in, or you knew people?
So it was weird because a huge Charleston crew had just moved up to Chicago, and they had sort of set up this foundation, and everybody was kind of doing really cool things. So when I got up there, I just kind of connected into the Charleston network, and then went from there, which was rad because a bunch of people were working at Second City, and then also like doing theater on the side. And so when I first got up there, they were essentially like, "Hey, you're in this show about a fraternity, like the secret underbelly of the fraternity."
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty cool. And
That's
then I got
fucking
like heavily
awesome.
involved with them. So
I could
cool.
see it being much more difficult than that for some people, right?
yeah, I think it is because people try to do like auditions and try to get in front of people. But it's
That's
definitely
badass.
it's definitely best to work your connections, I feel like.
So,
Ugh.
do you feel that even though you had a lot of connections going up there and got involved in a lot of stuff, you still had difficulties?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, just because there's like so many layers to it, and you're like constantly trying to break through to the next layer without
Yeah.
even knowing what it is. It's like, okay, I'm going for this like acting thing. It's like, all right, well, what is the path of acting? Is it like doing commercial work, and you land like a Progressive insurance commercial, and then you're like flow for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Or like the Verizon guy, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Or do you land like a television show? It's sort of like it forces you to like analyze your goals a little bit more microscopically. Like, all right, well, what is
Sure.
the path? Like, what is the best trajectory, and how can you get there? And there's so many different ways through like improv
Yeah.
or stand-up or acting. Everybody takes a different route up there.
What did you aim for the most?
I wanted to do Second City real bad. I wanted to do like the main stage at Second City because I think those guys are the rock stars. Of just like, those casts typically go on to work on cool shit. Like
Right.
the guys who were in the most recent cast went on to do Drunk History, which I think is like a cool path. Like
Totally.
instead of going Second City to SNL, like they got to do Drunk History,
Their own show,
which
yeah.
is
Yeah, that's
awesome.
badass.
And then they get sort of connected through producers and writers that way, and kind of do their own thing.
I know that Second City is cool, and I think like most people have heard of that. But why is that the one? What is it? Just the name itself is like prominent, and like people know that people mind Second City acts and actors and actresses.
Absolutely, and
Okay.
it's like an industry now because it's like their whole marketing edge is like, hey, you want to be the next Chris Farley? You this is where Chris Farley like got his big break, and so they like tempt you into taking all these classes with the promise that like you're going to be this next great comedian, and there's so many people who like try to do that, so
Yeah.
it's hard
Is it
because everybody's
bullshit?
competing. Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
Well, I'm sure
because
there's
nobody's going to be the next Chris Farley. You know, you got to be
the next you.
you. Yeah,
All right.
it's sort of like the
Yeah.
old adage.
We were talking. We were talking about this last week. That Gene Simmons said rock and roll is dead, and it didn't die naturally. It was murdered.
It was murdered. Yeah.
And the only two bands he said in the modern era that were actually rock and roll was Nirvana and this band his son showed him off the internet named Tame Impala.
My son showed it to me off the internet. What an old man thing to say for like a rock and roll
Right.
legend.
But well, that kind of goes for how comedy's going too. Is like you could say that SNL's not what it used to be, or that comedy television isn't as funny as it used to be. But like, there's so many people breaking through on the internet. And
Absolutely.
old people aren't used to that.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah. It's all
It's
nichified.
crazy.
There's not as many superstars. It's just like you like the shit that you like, and you find your group
But
of comics or your comedian that you follow what they do, rather
Absolutely.
than everybody watches the same comedy special.
Right. And I would almost say that, like, that's a better way to do it. Like, if you're doing comedy with your friends, you have a better chance of succeeding than if you go, like, pay money for a class that's going to teach you how to be funny. Because, like, that's where the bullshit comes in. Like, if you go take a class with your friends and you're kind of learning together and developing your own style, that's what's going to break through. And you're going to be funnier, like, as a collective rather than,
you get used
stars.
You get
know?
used to working with each other too. It's
Yeah.
like just a more organic experience when you start doing stuff.
Absolutely. And you enjoy it. Like, if you do it with your friends, you enjoy it.
I guess it's probably very similar to, like, if you want to start this type of band, you should just, like, think about all your friends and who plays what and who would be the best for the band, and, like, instead of just hiring 3 musicians to play whatever you have.
Right.
Because they're just always going to be in it for the money, and it's not going to...
Absolutely. Like, first, you do it because you like it, and second, like, you're hanging out all the time anyway, so why not just, like, make cool shit and do what you like to do with the people you like?
Henry, was there a... This is huge now in New York, like, kind of bar shows, comedy shows. I guess it's more stand-ups, but I've been to improv and sketch shows just basically at bars where, like, you know, some comedian will just be like, hey, can I do a night? And, you know, it's a tiny room that doesn't usually have comedy, but, like, if they have an improv troupe and they all bring some people, it's kind of awesome. Like, the room's kind of full and everybody has a good time.
Absolutely.
That's going on there?
That's everywhere. That's sort of how the whole thing started in Chicago. Like, Second City started by doing that.
Okay.
And then that eventually grew. And the reason comedy's huge up there is because, like, that happens all the time. Like, because there's spillover from the theater.
Right.
So, like, if you don't make it at Second City, if you don't make it at I.O., like, you're typically left to your own devices, which is like, hey, get some friends together, do a bar prov show. And it really ranges. Like, I've seen some of the best improv at, like, bar shows, and also, like, the worst, because you really get, like, a very big range.
Chicago's got this huge theater and film and television, like, historically, this huge reputation for being good for that.
Right.
But I bet it's exactly like you said, since so many people go there trying to, find where they fit into the acting industry or the comedy industry. You probably see, like, the greatest people you've ever seen before and, like, the shittiest of the shittiest acts.
Absolutely. And, yeah. There was just this big movement up there, actually, that it's still kind of going on. These guys who, like, didn't make... Because, like, your whole thing is you go through classes, and then you are, like, essentially farmed for teams. And they'll make teams, and you play on house teams, which do, like, 2 shows a month or whatever. But, like, a lot of times people will go through classes and not make a team, and they'll just be, like, crushed. And some people, it absolutely destroys them. And other people will, like, go out and still be super aggressive and want to, like, pursue it. So these guys who didn't make teams went out and started this, like, gallery space, where it was essentially like, hey, bring whatever you want, we're going to rent out this art gallery and just do shows in the back of this gallery. And it, like, over 4 years evolved into this really cool, like, comedy movement where it's like all the best underground comedy was going on at this place called the Upstairs Gallery.
Wow.
And it was really cool to watch that evolve, and to, like, be a very small part of that was just awesome. But these 3, like, comedians, well, it was two guys who met in classes there, and then their friend who, she did, like, business stuff. And so they came together and, like, formed this business that cultivated, like, a really cool comedy scene. And that grew for, like, 4 years, and then they put a stop to it because they just wanted to do different stuff.
Yeah.
And it was, like, this really cool, like, moment where all the sort of, like, people who had been cast out from the other institutions, like, could come to this place and be supported with comedy. And it was, like, the best comedy in the city.
Nice. I feel like anytime you set up a culture of, like, making a team or not making the team, or, like, you get cut from American Idol, anything where it's like that, there's always, like, such a strong incentive to be like, no, fuck you, I'm going to make something cooler than that.
Absolutely.
Like, it's so motivating.
It, like, provokes you.
Yeah, and because the people who decide that stuff aren't always the best at it, like, whoever decides who makes a team might not. How would we know if they were the best judge of who should be on that comedy team? Or like whoever so much shit goes into something like American Idol, like you would never have the right winner. Like, it's so motivating to get cut in anything.
Right.
And then you start your own shit as a fuck you.
It's funny that most of the judges, or at least in the Chicago world, most of the judges were like people who were on teams with like Mike Myers and Chris Farley that never broke through. Or like they were on a team with Tina Fey, and that's their claim to fame. It's like, oh yeah, well I did comedy with Tina Fey. And now she's a superstar who writes and produces all of her own shit, and they're still at the same institution
crushing on people's dreams.
Yeah, picking on the little guy. And it's, they have a place there because they know what they're doing, but they're just sort of like abusing their power, I guess.
Well, I think that this kind of sucks as you get into the real world and you don't attend school anymore, is that school, you were constantly being evaluated in all your classes, even if your classes were something that you enjoyed, like theater or music or writing or whatever. You were like constantly having to show your shit to people and being ready to have them say it sucked.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks that, you're trying to do something cool in the real world and you want honest feedback and honest opinion about it.
Yeah.
But most people like gave up their dreams a long time ago at this point in our lives. And they're like, a bank teller with a baby.
Yeah, it's my job.
Yeah. Well, I used to play the violin back when I was a virtuoso, but those days long past.
Yeah.
Baby Jim puked all over my tits this morning, and I had to change my blouse at the bank.
I wish I could remember what this thing is called. Oh, sorry.
But everybody now, when you're like, yo, check out this bit I have, or check out this new song I wrote, or listen to this, everybody's like, that's awesome, you did something cool with your day.
Yeah.
They don't give you any actual feedback, but in school you were just constantly getting evaluated, which made you better at stuff because you had to take somebody telling you if it was bad.
Right. Friends' criticism sucks because they always tell you that you did good.
Yeah, they're always going to encourage you, which could be good and bad.
I got your back always, bro. Even though you're about to release the worst YouTube video the internet has ever seen, I'll tell you it's great.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
This is going to be one.
It's everywhere. .com.
Now, Henry, you talking about that person who was the judge that did comedy with Tina Fey or whatever reminded me of something I just read, but I can't remember the name of it. It was the something principle, and it was basically like the scientific reason why when everybody says their boss sucks, they're actually right. Because the way the world works is you keep getting promoted till you're incompetent. You get promoted to the level of your incompetence. Because if you were super good at that job, you'd get promoted again.
Yeah.
So everybody always gets promoted until they suck at something. So when, you always think, man, everybody just thinks their boss sucks. But really, everybody's right. The highest up guy does suck. Because you just get promoted until you suck.
Right. Well, even to go off that, for my day job, I spent a majority of my time with this company that sells board games and brain teasers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I worked my way up from a sales associate to a store manager to working with their marketing department. And to go off kind of what you just said is in that role, we're building this expansive retail operation, and everybody's just pretending they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that they've built a national retail chain, so nobody knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's just that marketing language of just if you use big general words, people will pretend you know what you're talking about.
That shit
let's
is
access the
worst.
opportunities and let's take the initiative to get these opportunities and talk about the reach and the spread and
we must know our demographic.
It's all nonsense.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. But people make millions of dollars pretending that means something.
Power books, man.
Yeah.
Power books.
Power to the books.
You memorize those bold statements in the power books, and you can run a company just by repeating those, and you don't even have to know what they mean.
Oh, that shit is so retarded.
Yeah.
Those words, anytime, I feel like Paul and I have talked about this.
Persevere.
Broadly, is like, anytime somebody starts talking in a way that they wouldn't talk when they were just shooting the shit with people, I start thinking it's complete bullshit. Like, anybody on the news, like any newscaster, thank you, Diane. Welcome back. We're here with the... Like, why do they do the news like that?
Yeah.
And and bosses, like in meetings, we're like, we want to look at the 35 to 42 demo for this item. Like, just talk to me like a person.
That's gross.
Anytime people use a special voice, I start to think...
I'm going to need that fax before lunch, Linda. I'm going to need you to fax that.
It's all pretend. Like, really, we're just big kids with tools.
We're all a bunch of creatures walking around the planet trying to jizz somewhere.
Yeah.
Fucking monkeys.
I want to make enough money to have a pool at my house and jizz somewhere.
Isn't that the goal?
It's the American dream.
What else do you need if you have a pool with like a jacuzzi that water falls into it and a place to jizz?
That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a great point, Paul.
I don't have a job because I like money. I have a job because I'm trying to save up for a pool and to afford a regular place to jizz. And hopefully she's nice to me.
And once you have it's just... That's all you need.
That's true, right? Every organism's just trying to reproduce, and the way that guys do it is to have money, and the way that women do it is to have tits and ass. Yeah. That's all anybody's trying to do.
Well, no matter how hot or ugly a person is, you got to remember they're just a person walking around trying to jizz somewhere.
It's funny just to like think about people on the street that's their primary objective for the day.
Yeah, I know. You like see...
Like, here's this medical student. All they really want to do is just get home and jizz.
Yeah. Or like, you see somebody like walking home with like 4 quarts of ice cream, you're like, oh man, they must be sad that they can't jizz, so they're eating that ice cream. And then you see somebody jogging down the street and you're like, oh, they must really want to jizz tonight, so they're trying to get in shape.
Yeah.
That guy's trying to jizz somewhere cooler.
That's
so insane.
Yeah. Oh, you see somebody going out to eat and you're like, oh wow, they just want to, sustain their own life by eating so they can jizz again.
Yeah. They just want to feel good. They just want to build themselves up.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah, they can't starve themselves. Yeah. Or else they can't jizz anymore when they're dead.
That's insane.
The fucked up thing is that's pretty much correct, right? Like that's the only thing in common with all organisms is like trying hard to reproduce.
Yeah.
If anything, humans are like the softest about it, right? Like every other animal is like definitely they fucking kill stuff and fuck.
Yeah.
It's humans who try to do weird other stuff sometimes.
Yeah, why do we have to buy a girl a Moon and Lola necklace before she lets us slide it on in?
It's just expensive.
Yeah, I know. Come on. Why don't you test out the beef hog first? Then I'll buy you one.
Man.
Speaking of jizzing, there was one current event that we didn't get to, Paul.
Oh, the super rapist.
Yeah.
What a seamless transition.
Yeah.
Thank you, Henry. We're in showbiz.
Yeah, Belgium does not have a capital punishment, but they will euthanize a gentleman named Frank van den Blecken. He's a prisoner serving a life sentence for rape and murder. Usually they only euthanize people with terminal illness. His illness is psychiatric, but he says his desire to be sexually violent will never go away. He cannot stop raping people.
I think that's like the most noble thing he can do. He realized that he couldn't fix it, couldn't be rehabbed, and it's like, you know what, just take me out. That obviously means he feels like a jerk about it.
Oh, so his sisters...
That's crazy.
The sisters of the victim want him to serve out his life sentence because he raped and murdered their sister in 1989, and they want him to rot in his cell, which I can completely understand. But
I can understand it, but he's solving the problem. Like the reason we should have.
Why should he be on the world anymore?
Right. They want somebody else to suffer. They want revenge, not justice. Like, justice would be he's not going to cause any more problems, which also works when he just kills himself. Like, that's fine. They just want... I almost feel like... I understand that he raped someone, but they're being, like, extra cruel. Like, he's offering to die. It's pretty good. I don't know. I don't think people should want other people to suffer.
I just think that it's kind of fucked up that they couldn't figure out some other way to, like, punish him, or... He's like... They're like, yo, if you stop raping people, we'll let you go right now. And he's like, you're gonna have to kill me, bitch. I ain't never gonna stop raping people.
Yeah.
Raping is my bread and butter. It's what makes me up in the morning. It's my Folgers, bitch.
But it's good that if someone does say that, you do kill them, right? Like, you do kill them.
You're gonna have to kill me, man. I'm gonna rape people all the time.
Right. God. And they were like, okay.
All right, sure.
Good idea.
We don't have a capital punishment system, but we'll kill you. I think that, why should he be on the earth anymore?
I think that anyone should be allowed to kill themselves. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. If somebody wants to go, like, yeah, fine.
Is it illegal to kill yourself?
Yeah, it's illegal in the United States for sure.
I don't think people should...
Which is crazy, because what's the punishment?
Yeah.
You're dead.
And what do you own if not the right to kill yourself?
Yeah.
Like, that's stupid. You can't
it's a personal choice, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that life should be so bad for anybody that they should want to. I guess some people get fucked up one way or another, and they can't stop raping people, and if they want to go down in flames, just kill them, get them off the planet, and
then that's a whole nother bag of worms there, because that's the debate, which is so common now, which is like, all right, do they have like a mental disorder where it's like they are sick and they have to rape all the time because that's all they can think about? Or is it like just this weird obsession that they have that's like their choice?
I feel like that dude is saying, I have a mental problem.
Yeah.
And this is the way to solve it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a magic pill that, cures psychopaths or rapists.
Yet.
If we did, here's the debate. Here's another debate, I think. If we did have a magic pill that cured psychopaths, first of all, you'd give it to people when they were like 6 if they were psychopathic. So hopefully nothing bad would ever happen. But say somebody got through the cracks and mass murdered 20 kids at a school. Can't you just give him the pill at that point and that's it? Or would you want him to suffer?
I've got a meta.
But like, what does he do? Like, does he become a teacher with this
he's
dark
completely
history?
Well adjusted,
but he's cured, so he can go out and the thing is and like talks about it openly. That's a scary world. You like fast forward that world 50 years where you just like pepper your society with like people who have like the worst rap sheet, but they're functioning humans in society, and you just come across murderers and thieves and rapists all the time.
But they wouldn't be that anymore because they did that because something was wrong with their brain, and then you fix it.
Right.
I don't know.
So
that's like a Stephen King story.
Here's what this made me think of, and I love horror movies, but I really, after Exorcist 1, the possession movies there's something that innately bugs me about possession horror movies, where a ghost possesses somebody and they have to exorcise it or whatever.
Sure.
I guess most recently I was watching The Conjuring, and I was like, alright, this bitch is possessed. Right? I'm like, and her family is trying so hard to depossess her, and she's been fucking throwing up all over the house, breaking shit, flying around the ceiling, puking everywhere, punching him in the face, scratching him, and then they exorcise the demon. Do you just like give her a hug after I'm like, bitch, you puked on me and scratched my fucking face.
Flew around the ceiling.
You're right, that's the same thing as the magic pill.
How do I know that when I wake up tomorrow, you're not going to be flying around the ceiling, puking and shitting everywhere again?
Exactly. It's just like that. It's a great analogy. I think people are more forgiving of the possessed person than they are okay with the idea of a magic pill.
That's hilarious because that's totally true.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if you're, she was possessed when she was 6 years old, but we fixed that. Right. It's like,
Whereas if you're like, well, this guy murdered 20 people in a school.
Yeah.
Like, that's unacceptable if you murder,
Yeah.
but if you have Satan in you.
What about if instead of them like putting somebody in jail for a really long time, like 30 years, they only got punished for 5 years, but like it was like way worse than jail.
Cruel and unusual punishment.
Torture.
Paul.
Yeah.
That's discouraged in this country.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, you guys
have to be
watched
humane.
commercials?
Yeah, I love those things.
Oh, I was watching Nickelodeon for the first time in like years and years, and I guess most of the commercials I just passively intake are not kids commercials. Nickelodeon commercials are like a bad acid trip. They're fucking all over the place.
Oh, Jesus.
It's terrifying. All the movies
that
and
out.
products they're advertising all these animal toys that are creepy as fuck. Woo!
I saw a picture of the old Nickelodeon studios, which may paint a vivid picture for some people, which is just like orange and green, and like there's the slime fountain, and everything's fun and like splashes of color. And now it's like a dentist's office. This is like a very bland office building, and it's just completely sterile and just like white and nice and like spooky. It's like
Did it make
goodbye
you
childhood.
Did you make you sad?
Yeah, it's like childhood is gone.
Childhood is gone.
Childhood is gone.
I thought kids needed more stimulus these days with their iPhones and their short attention spans. I felt like it would be like a psychedelic fucking crazy image now. No, it's a dentist's office.
No. Well, I mean, I don't. It's clearly not owned by Nickelodeon anymore, so it's just
okay.
yeah. It's the Nickelodeon dentist.
Get
I
your
thought
teeth
Nickelodeon was
cleaned.
just getting more dentist-like.
Yeah, they're making the big bucks.
Creighton works there.
Creighton.
Shout out to Creighton, #1 dentist.
#1 dentist who can shred like no other.
Don't let him put you under. He'll stick his weenie in your mouth.
Oh my god. All right, Paul, let's wrap this up. Henry, thanks for
Absolutely.
talking shit with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had so much fun talking shit with you.
Dude, I love shit. I love talking.
Do you have
I
any
thought you guys-
final thoughts?
Closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. If you need help, the pill is being developed. Just wait and don't kill or rape anyone.
Just hold on.
Just hold on for the pill. That's my words of advice.
Those are great. Yeah, I was gonna do closing thoughts, but that's I'm just gonna echo that. If
Wait
you're
for
thinking
the
about
pill.
raping or mass murdering anyone, just hold off. Hold off.
Just hang on
Yeah.
for a bit.
If you are one of those people who can't stop raping people, and you should look into my new $1 million idea, the helping hand, because you can masturbate anywhere while you're wearing a helping hand and no one in public can tell. And the helping hand, when would you rather not be jerking off?
Very nice. Henry, cheers, bro.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks
Cheers.
Merman Supply
Ding,
Company.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Merman Supply Company.
Get
Get
wet!
wet.
Peace, bitches.
I wanna know